Real cryptid reports, told in an immersive story format. This is the story channel that you've been waiting for. Welcome back, or if you're new here, welcome to Dark Secrets. I had a story turned into me about a guy who said he made friends with a Bigfoot when he was a kid. Now, whether you believe his story or not, it's still an awesome story to listen to. Let's get into it. When I was 8 years old, I made friends with a Bigfoot. You don't have to believe my story. Trust me, I'm 42 years old now and I've been criticized and called crazy more times than you can count. But nonetheless, even if you don't believe, it's still a damn good story to listen to. I was about 8 years old and we lived on a nice little patch of land in central Colorado. Mountains, forests, crystal clear streams and meadows. It was truly a heavenly place to grow up. This spring brought an unexpected surprise, and it changed my life forever. I remember I was down by the creek looking for quartz crystal and cool rocks when I heard what I can only describe as a whoop. I looked around a little confused. I've never heard an animal make that sound before. Then I heard two knocks or thumps, like something hitting a tree with something heavy. I trained my eye on the direction of the noise, and that's when I first saw him. About half his body and half his face was sticking out from behind a tree looking at me. It was huge, much taller than Dad, and he's like 6'2". It was covered in fur and had a face like a mixture between a human and an ape. I dropped all my rocks and the really nice quartz crystal I'd just found at the edge of the stream and bolted off to the house. I tried to tell Mom and Dad what I saw, and that's when I experienced my very first rejection and criticism over my sighting. Mom told me I had a very good imagination, and Dad told me if I did see something, it sounds like a bear and I need to be careful. The next day, I went outside and went to play in my tree house that Dad built me when I was 6. It was about 8 feet off the ground with a ladder for me to get up. I climbed up the ladder and I froze when I got to the top. Right on the edge of the floor, where the ladder comes up, was my crystal I dropped and a few random rocks. I instantly knew that thing must have put them there. But why? Was he trying to be friends? I bolted inside again and said, "See, I'm not crazy. It left my rocks and crystal in the fort for me." I was met with, "You probably left those up there the last time you played and forgot about them." I was crushed and I gave up completely, trying to convince my parents what was going on. I decided to grab a bag and put a carrot, an apple, and a slice of cheese in it. I went back down to the stream where I last saw the creature and went over to the tree I last saw him. I climbed the tree about 7 feet up and hung the bag where I hoped no animal other than my potential new friend could reach it. The next morning, I couldn't contain myself. I ran out the house and down to the creek to see if the bag was still there. And it was not. The bag was gone, and at the base of the tree was a pile of rocks, I'm assuming as a gift. There was nothing special about the rocks, they were just normal rocks. But they were super special to me, because it was a gift from this huge creature, who must think any rock is what I like since it saw me collecting them 2 days ago. I ran back to the house and made another goodie bag to hang in the tree, and I traded food for rocks with this thing daily for a couple weeks. Then I remember one evening I got out a little late to hang the goodie bag. It was almost dark. The excitement of it all was starting to fade a little, and I had a huge collection of rocks now. As I was hanging the bag, I heard it again. Whoop! I immediately looked in the direction, and there it was again, half obscured by a tree just looking at me. Hey guys, real quick before we finish this story, if you enjoy how we're telling real cryptid encounters in an immersive story format, please drop a like, hit that subscribe button, and turn notifications on. We only upload once a week, and it's really easy for a small channel like this one to get buried in your feed. You guys are always very encouraging and kind in the comments. Today I've got a special favor to ask of you. Jen Yuva is our editor, and she's the one that brings these videos to life for you with videos and sounds and images. Do me a favor, go down in the comments and just thank Jen for what she does on these videos. Now let's get back to that story. There it was again, half obscured by a tree and just looking at me. Then it reached down and grabbed a rock, looked at me for a moment, and gently underhand tossed the rock to my feet. I was overjoyed, and in my excitement I launched the goodie bag in its direction. I nearly hit him, and he flinched a little as the bag flew past him. He then turned, grabbed the bag, and disappeared into the woods. The trading and interactions like the one I just told you about went off and on for the next 2 years. We got comfortable enough with each other. Sometimes while I was playing at the stream, I would see him sitting and just hanging out not too far away, often further downstream just on the bank. I like to think we were buds. Social distancing buds. We never got closer than I'd say 100 or 150 feet, but I preferred it that way, and so did he. My parents sold our house, and we moved when I was almost 11. I cried and begged to stay. Years later, when I was 17, I drove out to our old property and talked to the owners and just asked if I could take a walk to recall some memories. They agreed, and I went straight down to the creek. My heart was broken when I saw the piles of rocks everywhere that I was never able to collect or trade back for. I stayed late into the evening and never saw or heard my old friend. As I was leaving, the owner came out and asked me if I enjoyed my time. It was a mixture of happiness and sadness. And then he asked me, "Do you know anything about these rocks getting piled up everywhere? All I can think is some kids are playing down there, but I never see them." I just smiled a big smile and said, "No, I couldn't tell you. That's pretty strange. Maybe you ought to try hanging a goodie bag up down there with some apples or something in it just to see what happens." From all the reports I've read and watched and had turned into me, I'm really starting to think that if you believe in Bigfoot and dogman and all these other things, it really seems like, just like humans, there's good ones and there's bad ones. What do you guys think? That's going to do it for today, and as always, keep an open mind, and I'll see you in the next one.